Hello and welcome back to Psychology 303, the analysis of everyday behavior. I'm Dr. Williams and this is the lecture for Chapter 20B on self-management. We're going to be talking about different kinds of behaviors. So here we have examples of people exercising and studying and making beds and practicing the piano, all of which could be behaviors that you might want to work on. There's also, here's another slide of someone who is learning magic tricks or learning how to juggle, remembering to walk the dog. The lost art of letter writing. It's one thing to send an email. It's another thing to get a self-addressed letter in the mail that's handwritten. Maybe that's something that you'd like to do, is to write a short letter to someone every day for 3 weeks to see how it improves your letter writing behavior. Remembering to feed the dog. Remembering to floss your teeth. She's so cute. Remembering to buckle up before you drive away. All of these are behaviors that students that I've had have in the past have worked on, and so these are just some examples. So I want to talk in this section, this is the last section for this chapter, about interventions, and specifically some tricks of the trade, treatments and techniques that actually work. So I want to talk about different kinds of interventions that you can employ in your self-management project. The first one I want to talk about is the use of prompts, the use of antecedent manipulations. So setting up prompts and reminders to help you remember to engage in your behavior. So having little notes that you can leave around the house, like the one here, I'll use my cursor like this one up here. Remember to floss, leave them around the house in places that you frequent so that you'll see them. Taping it on the, for example, you might have a note like that you would tape onto the TV remote. Remember to go get some floss and floss while you're watching TV. In the center here, we have a car, and the person has put their gym bag in the car. So their gym shoes and their exercise clothing is in the car so that when they remember, oh, I want to go to the gym, work out, they don't have to go home and get all the stuff. It decreases, this is an example of decreasing the response effort necessary to engage in the behavior as well as serving as a prompt. In both cases, here at the top and down here at the bottom, is the use of our current technology, using your cell phone to put reminders in that pop up that remind you at the appropriate time of the day when you should go and do your behavior. This is one of my favorites, buckle up for safety. I actually had a student put a little sign like this on their steering column, and then later during the second return to baseline, the second return to treatment, he started cutting the sign, pieces of the sign off, until all he was left with was a little red dot. And that red dot was enough, and then finally that fell off and he didn't need to replace it because he was putting a seatbelt on when he was supposed to. Putting up sticky notes, putting them on the refrigerator, putting them on the mirror, putting them on your drive column, putting them in your car, putting a little reminder, the small sticky labels on your phone to help you remember. All of those, the use of prompts is a very good intervention, and it really helps ensure that you engage in the behavior to remind you to do the behavior. Another one that you can do is changing response efforts. So here are just some examples. If your job is to clean up the bathroom in the morning before you leave for school, so purchase an organizer for your makeup, and that'll make cleaning the bathroom a lot easier than having to remove all of that stuff every single time you go to do it. I mentioned this earlier in a previous lecture. Wrapping your cigarettes up in a sheet of paper where you record where and when and why you smoke your cigarettes. And put the wrapped box out in the shed or in the trunk of your car so you actually have to go get them. You're changing the effort that is required to engage in the behavior. You can either change the effort by making it easier, like putting your gym bag in the trunk, or you can make an undesired behavior more difficult by creating effort to engage in the behavior. If studying is something that you want to do, creating a special study nook with everything you need to do for your studying that would make it easier so that you don't have to clear a place at the table or balance all of your stuff in your bedroom. Finding a place that's set up specifically for studying. Leaving your car at school on the weekend, walking home on Friday afternoon so that you avoid driving too much on the weekend, so that you can spend more time studying. That could be very effective. So you can change the response effort. That's another trick to sort of antecedent manipulation to increase or decrease the likelihood of engaging in a desired or undesired response. Behavioral contracting. A contract is a written document that outlines the target behaviors in detail. It's a contract that lists what the inclusions and exclusions are, what acceptable alternative behaviors are, the when, the where, the how much, the how long of when the behavior occurs and when reinforcement will occur. The consequences. Who and when will the reinforcers be delivered? Who's going to be making those decisions? What are the consequences of not engaging in your target behavior? How are those going to be ensured that you do them? What and where and when? Who's going to deliver them? And how much of it do they deliver? And then as part of it, including others in the contract for social support. So having a friend oversee your contract and deliver the reinforcers and punishers. That's what we're going to be doing in our behavior modification project. You are going to, with your partner is going to oversee the contract, and they are going to have your bags. And you will have their bags. And so you will be overseeing each other's projects. And I'm going to have you do a contract so that we're going to write up the contract, and you're going to set the contract in motion as part of your intervention. So we are going to be arranging our reinforcers and punishers. We're going to be creating two bags, the goodie bag and the naughty bag. And the items that we're going to place in our goodie bag will serve as positive reinforcement for successes. And the things that go in the naughty bag will be positive punishers for failures. However, it's also true that we're going to use negative punishment and negative reinforcement. The items in the goodie bag will also serve as negative punishers for failures. Those will be the things that you don't get to earn if you fail. And in the naughty bag, those items that are aversive to you, that are unpleasant and that you don't like, can serve as negative reinforcers for your success because you can escape or avoid them. So we're going to be arranging these so that there will be consequences to your actions and that they will help you stick to your treatment. Okay, so this slide deals with cheaters. Cheaters beware. Lots of people cheat. In fact, I believe everybody cheats somewhere at some time in their lives. But when it comes to self-behavior management, cheating is completely private. And so it's hard to know whether someone's cheating or not. So really, you have to ask yourself, am I likely to cheat? If you are likely to cheat, so for example, are your punishers so aversive that you would not administer them to yourself? If they are, you need to reduce the aversiveness so that they can be something unpleasant or time-consuming. Or you can enlist the help of another person, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make our commitment public with our partners. We're going to have our partners in control of our reinforcers and punishers. They're going to reach in and pull out the item that you're going to have to do, whether you succeed or fail. So we're going to have a friend participating with us. So having a friend participate with you can be very helpful. I think we have two partners, who are actually doing the same behavior, and they're going to do it together. And so that'll facilitate their successes. And then you can always post your graph publicly so that other people can see where you're succeeding and failing. I had a professor friend who was trying to work on his cholesterol and his intake of fat. He wanted to reduce his fat. And so he was getting cholesterol checks once a month. So he was posting on his door his cholesterol outcome for every month. And people would see it and they would compliment him. They would say, gosh, you're doing such a good job. Congratulations. So it really does enlist the support of other people. Self-instructions and self-praise. I had mentioned this earlier, but this really is reciting the rules of your self-management program to yourself or to other people, explaining it to other people, and having it serve as a form of commitment or as a prompt for your behavior, explaining what it is that you're doing. This is one time when talking to yourself is a good thing. You can write a self-statement for yourself. You know, commitment, even self-commitment, increases compliance in any treatment. So reciting your own self-praise can be a reinforcer. If you write out a positively reinforcing self-praise statement And every morning when you get up, when you've been successful, read it to yourself. That can be very useful. In terms of therapy, behavioral therapy has been shown to be very effective. But within the cognitive therapy movement, cognitive behavior therapy has shown that cognitive dissonance is a really good technique for self-modification. In other words, sometimes our behavior and our thoughts or our feelings don't go together. So when we change one of those two, the other one will come into line. So in this case, using a self-statement to talk about your ability to meet these goals and what your goals are and what you need to do today can be a really good way of bringing your behavior in line. Let me give you an example. So this is an example of a morning self-statement that you might print out and put next to your bed and read it every day. Today I'm committing myself again to meeting my daily target goals. I will walk for 20 minutes after dinner. I will walk briskly and enjoy the cool evening air. I will remain focused on the importance of my health. I am confident that I can achieve this goal today. My health is very important. Without my health, everything else loses some of its worth. I want to stay healthy and happy, so I will walk for 20 minutes after dinner. Just doing that in the morning can help recommit you to your goal. So in terms of an overview for this self-management project, let me just go through a few things. One, we need to make a decision to actually engage in self-management. So because it's part of our class and part of our project, it's pretty easy to do, but I think it's important to note that the behaviors that you're selecting are supposed to be behaviors that are important to you. So you want to make that decision to use this project to do a behavior that will actually improve your daily life. Defining that target behavior and identifying competing behaviors so that you can really focus on what you need to do and what you're not doing. Setting achievable goals. I would rather that you set your goals a little too low and then raise them slowly rather than setting them so high that you fail from the beginning. There's nothing faster that will destroy a behavior modification than having a low level of success. Engaging in self-monitoring of your behavior starting with baseline. Conducting a functional behavioral assessment so that you understand how this behavior serves you. What function does it serve for you? Employing multiple management strategies rather than picking only one way of reinforcing yourself or one way of dealing with your successes and failures. Having multiple strategies in place can really help lead to success. Evaluating change during your treatment phases, determining whether or not your treatment is working. If you need to fall back and reevaluate because your treatment is not working very well, we need to meet. You and I need to get together and we need to talk about what's working and what's not working and possibly make alterations to the treatment in order to ensure that it'll be more effective. So falling back and reevaluating a less than ideal treatment is completely appropriate and necessary in terms of success in a self-behavior management program. And then finally, implementing maintenance strategies, figuring out how you're going to maintain these changes for the long run. That's part of what we're going to be doing, especially for those of you who really want to maintain the changes that you've put into place over the course of the next few weeks. We'll need to talk a little bit about how to implement maintenance strategies. Okay, that'll do it for Chapter 20, and we'll see you back for our next series of lectures. Have a good day.